Welcome to the Knowledge Entrepreneurs Show, where we celebrate the innovators driving change in the education industry. At Edison OS, we've worked with over 500 knowledge entrepreneurs to turn their edtech ideas into profitable businesses. Hi, Kovida. Good evening. Welcome to the Knowledge Entrepreneur Show. Thank you so much for taking time out to be here with me on the show today.
Hi, good evening. Thank you so much for having me here.
It's my pleasure. So, right now you're wearing multiple hats in terms of what you do. You work for Allen Institute. I'm sorry if I'm not getting the name right, but Allen is a brand, very well-known brand. You're working with them. You're also, you're also running a company called as Adverb. You're also an examiner at the British Council. So a lot of things. But before we get into those things, could you, walk us through your journey of, up until the point that you decided to choose this path,
Okay. I'll give a brief of the background. My father's a doctor, and he always wanted me to be a doctor. Like it is said, a doctor's child would be a doctor. So, I was a student at Allen back then. I was a medical student in class 11 and 12. I opted for medical. And I was a student at Allen and I was preparing for NEET because my father always wanted me to be a doctor. And he also actually he fixed some meetings with his friends at AFMC, working at AIMS, to help me learn about their journey. And eventually I realized that I don't want to be a doctor. I'm doing this because my father wants me to be one.
Right.
So I took admission. I kept studying. I did qualify NEET. And then I remember my mom came to me once after the result was declared. My mom called my father saying, "Hi, is this Dr. Kovida's father speaking?" The day the result was declared, and he was so happy to hear this. But moms, mothers, they have that instinct and they happen to know things without being said. So my mother came to me and she said, "Do you really want to be a doctor?" Um, she said, "Sit and evaluate." I was very scared of maths. So in class 10, she asked me to sit and evaluate, and that's when I chose medical. Also because my father wanted me to. Then after grade 12, after I qualified NEET, my mother came back to me again asking, "Do you really want to be a doctor? You really want to sit in that room and say breathe in, breathe out? Because I don't see you doing that. Or probably I don't see you enjoy doing that."
Right.
I've grown up in the hospitals being with my father. I used to be so fascinated by the coat they wear, their stethoscope. Yeah, have you seen that ghost Casper? I used to look like Casper roaming around in the
Right.
hospital. That little baby girl wearing white coats.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then I thought that, okay, this is not me.
Right.
I have utmost respect for them, not because my father is a doctor, but it is something that I am not meant for.
Right.
So that's when I decided that I like languages more than being a doctor,
Okay.
and I chose my path there. And if I'm allowed to, my father was really upset with the decision, uh, and he was skeptical whether you can have a good career because obviously he wanted to give me the best possible life, and he's seen the privilege of being a doctor and the way you're respected in the society. Not that the other professions are not respected, but he had
Right.
seen it from his perspective.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then my mom happened to tell him that, you remember one of your friends saying, "Am I allowed to use Hindi, by the way?"
Little bit. The audience are going to
Yeah,
be all over India, so there will be
mm,
people who may not understand Hindi. But yeah, here and there it's okay.
yeah. There's just one sentence.
As long as you
So
can translate that, it's fine.
okay, he said, "Chahe chane becho par karare becho." So whatever you do, you have to be an expert in that field. So my mom said, let her do whatever she wants to.
Right.
And that's when I decided that even if I pursue languages, I want to make sure that he's really proud of me.
Right.
And he shouldn't feel that I've missed upon something in my life or any sort of privilege in my life. That's when I chose.
Got it. So you
So
chose it during your 12th standard, at the end of your 12th standard. Is that correct? When you
after
had to,
qualifying NEET.
after qualifying me, just before
Hmm.
getting into MBBS, is when you made this
Yes,
decision. Good
yes.
for you. But just a little detour, because I think it'll help a lot of people, because everybody knows somebody who's about to make such decisions, right? And it's never
Hmm.
easy to have a clarity when you're just finishing your 12. So
Right.
languages, when did you discover, languages is what you wanted to do? Is that been since your childhood, or did that stem um, from the knowledge that you were not interested in medicine?
Okay. Now the catch here is my mother's from the Department of English.
Oh, right.
So
Okay,
I got it from my mama.
got it. So it's been a long-term thing growing up, and then it was
Long term
probably a
thing, yeah.
confusion between this and
Hmm.
that. But yeah,
Hmm.
got it,
Hmm.
Govida.
Yeah.
Govida, so what happened then? Okay, you know what? This is great, because a lot of the people that I've spoken to before, who are into verbal, they did not plan to be doing that, right? They all completed their degree, and then they found a makeshift job in either Jamboree or Cat somewhere, and
Hmm.
then they kind of found it lucrative, and then they built upon it. But
Hmm.
given that you made a decision, for those people who are listening, and for them it might help, what is the roadmap for somebody to kind of pursue English as a career choice?
Okay. So, what people generally presume is there are a lot of misconceptions about this subject.
Right.
People happen to presume there's nothing beyond past tense, present tense, and future tense in English.
Okay.
I overheard one of the professors somewhere. I was in one of the colleges, and the professor said, "What do these lecturers from the Department of English have to teach? All they have to teach is past tense, present tense, and future tense."
Right.
That's what he said. There's nothing beyond this that they can teach. So this is a misconception. Language is a vast ocean. You can never actually have, let's say, because you can't see the other end, it's that vast an ocean.
Right.
No matter how learned you are, but for that, you have to be very specific that you want to learn languages.
Mm.
I have seen a lot of people pursue MA in English uh, because MA for them stands for matrimonial alliance.
Okay.
Yes, I'll tell you something. This is a research. I remember one of my professors also telling me that this was a research done that boys generally prefer girls who have done their masters in English.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this was a filter that was put on these matrimonial sites. So you get to
Wow.
put those filters. I've never been on a matrimonial site, so this was told to me.
Neither
So
have,
the
have
girls,
I.
yeah, but this was told that the girls who've done their masters in English and who are very good with the language, let's say English language, they are preferred the most by the
Okay.
opposite gender.
Interesting. Okay.
So they have to know that if they want to pursue their masters in English, um, MA actually stands for something else for them.
Right.
Then if we get into specialized, like after that, I did CELTA. It's a back-breaking course.
Oh,
Be it physically, emotionally, mentally, financially, I could get through because I was with my parents then, and my mom made sure that I had my meals in time. Otherwise, it was a task in itself.
okay.
So you can't do it if you're not interested in it. So don't do it just for the sake of it.
Right.
That is something that I would suggest people. Um, and then they end up teaching the wrong way. I've also met a lot of teachers who do not have their concepts right, and that's a problem. You're playing with the career of a lot of
Okay.
kids.
Okay. So what's the roadmap that you took to get to the point that you are,
Okay,
Kovida? Like, you did your
so
bachelor's, master's, and then CELTA?
yeah, I did my bachelor's. It was a double major. I did have functional English as a subject apart from English honors. So
Mm-hmm.
in functional English, you get to study phonetics, linguistics, and TV and radio journalism,
Right. Right.
right? That's when I realized that this is something that interests me a lot. After
Okay.
that, I did my master's in English. Then I attended this masterclass for IELTS trainer
Right.
conducted by the British Council.
Right. Right.
Post that, I was being a little too ambitious while I was pursuing MA, so I applied for CELTA while I was pursuing MA. So I
Okay.
remember my interviewer telling me that you're getting over ambitious, girl, calm down. You
Okay.
need to complete your MA and then you need to come back to CELTA because you will not be able to do both of them together because I underestimated CELTA.
Okay.
Yeah, but then after that, I did enroll myself for CELTA and yeah, it went on and on.
Got it. So, what was your thought process? When you were doing your, I'm sure the way you are saying when you were doing bachelor's, you must have been clear that you're going to do masters as well. So, after
Certainly.
masters, you might have been, planned about doing CELTA and stuff. But what was your thought process back then in terms of what you're going to be as a profession?
Okay. In our college, it was generally told to us that the most suitable path for you is qualify NET and then pursue PhD and apply for the lecturership. But I was pretty sure that this is something that I don't want to do.
Okay.
TESOL methodology is something that I enjoyed a lot. And I recently completed my specialization in TESOL methodology, which was funded by the US government, 100% scholarship.
Okay.
So I knew that, okay, PhD, okay, NET, PhD, and then teaching in the college or teaching at a college is something that I do not want to do.
Sorry, may I know what is net?
Sorry?
Net? Did you say net?
Yeah, UGC NET. You have that
Oh,
paper
right,
that you
right,
can,
right.
yeah.
Okay.
So you have to qualify that paper, get admission into PhD.
Okay. So, but
So
you didn't
this is
want to do
something that
that.
I
You didn't
knew
want
that
to
no
go.
was not my cup of tea at least,
Kovida, can you hear me?
because TESOL is something that I was interested in more.
Kovida, can you hear me? I lost you for a little bit.
Yeah. I can hear you now.
Okay, got it. So I was asking, so you were not interested in going in the direction where you wanted to be a lecturer. You were interested in TESOL and CELTA route, right? So where was that
Yeah.
going to lead you? What was your plan? What was your thought process?
When I went to the British Council for this training, masterclass for IELTS trainer, there used to be the CELTA room where
Okay,
we were not allowed to enter.
okay,
And I was so fascinated by the room because I so wanted to see what is in here, and I'm not allowed to access the room. That's when I got to know about CELTA.
okay,
And I was so fascinated about the concept of CELTA, by the concept of CELTA, and I knew that this is something that I want to do one day. Also, I loved the personality of the trainers there in the British Council, and I wanted to make a difference at a global level for sure.
okay. So what is CELTA?
It is okay. It's basically a certificate in English language teaching to adults,
Okay,
which is so you get your accreditation number by Cambridge English Assessment.
okay. And what's so special about that? The way you talk about CELTA is also very different. It
Mm.
seems like it's a big thing. Like, why is it so?
Because one, not everybody can get through. It's a long process to get through it.
Mm-hmm.
Then, while you pursue CELTA, when you submit your assignments and while you're doing your teaching practices, it's either a pass or a fail. There's no in between. If you
Okay,
do not pass, you do not get through it.
right.
So all your teaching practices have to be to standard. All your assignments, you have to pass all your assignments. You cannot fail.
Okay,
So let's say this is not the case there, that let's say you've scored 95 out of 100 in one of the assignments, you can cover up the rest of the marks in the next assignment. No, it's either a pass or a fail. Also, CELTA is, let's say, it's a very prestigious certificate.
okay.
And it's the basic, and in terms of TESOL methodology or TESOL, or teaching English as a foreign language, this is the basic certification that you need.
Which one, CELTA?
Yes.
Okay, so TESOL is something that you do after you do CELTA, is it? Okay, got it.
For the course
So
that I did, I was supposed to, in order to be eligible for that, I was supposed to give them a proof that I've either done CELTA or TEFL, which is Teaching English as a Foreign Language.
foreign
So I
language.
have a certification in that. It was a prerequisite there.
Sorry, I lost you for a little bit. Okay, okay, Kovida. So let's say somebody who has a CELTA, what kind of career opportunities can they expect?
Multiple across the globe,
Okay.
a few in India.
Oh, there are not a lot of opportunities in India with the CELTA certificate, is it?
Because people don't understand what CELTA is. The generally followed path here is NET, PhD, B.Ed, HTET, and all the other exams you need to
Right,
take.
right.
So that's the generally followed path.
Okay,
So not a lot of people value it, or let's say they don't value it because they don't know about it.
okay.
It's just a few, it's just a few organizations. Let's say the British Council here,
Hmm.
or I haven't come across a lot of people who actually know what CELTA is. Even organizations for that matter. I will not name the college, but I remember I met one of these principals and the head of the Department of English was sitting there. And I told him that I was looking for a job back then.
Right,
And he said, sorry, madam, but no matter what you do, we need NET and PhD. Otherwise, you will not be eligible, or we don't value other qualifications.
right. So that's why you're saying in India the opportunities are a little less
Yeah,
for.
not many that I have come across at least.
Got it. Got it, Kovida. So were you aware of this when you took up? You were sure that you didn't want to take that typical route. You wanted to do
Hmm.
CELTA and then TESOL.
Hmm.
Did you know that in India this is the kind of value that it has? And what exactly happened? Once you went ahead and finished CELTA and TESOL, what was your job career like?
Oh, the sleepless nights, I tell you, because I knew that I picked upon CELTA, but there are not many opportunities. So I was a little skeptical about it. And I'll tell you something here. After completing CELTA, I was jobless for 6 months.
Okay.
And I so regretted the decision because, again, I told you it was also a financially backbreaking course.
How much does
And
it
my
cost?
parents, let's say approximately 1.5 lakhs
Okay.
for 1.5 month.
Oh, wow. Okay. And how long do you have to finish that within to get the certificate?
The duration is 1.5 month.
Oh, you got to finish it
But
within
then,
45 days. Okay.
uh, it's 120 hours that you need. So it's an hour based program,
Okay.
not
Got it. Got
month
it.
or days based.
Got it. And is there any prerequisites that one has to meet to?
Yes, certainly, certainly. They have a very strict marking criteria. So when you submit the form, there are a lot of tasks that you're supposed to complete and submit. After they feel that you are proficient enough, then they send some pre-interview tasks,
Okay.
which you're supposed to complete within, I think, 24 hours and then submit it again.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have the interview, then you have pre-course tasks.
Okay.
When you qualify the interview, you get some pre-course tasks, and then after that, the course starts. And even if the course starts, it is not a compulsion that you will get to it, because I told you the assignments and the teaching practices. It's
Right.
either a pass or a fail. Even if you have entered, you still haven't reached the destination as yet.
Got it. Okay. So yeah, you finished CELTA and then you were jobless for 6 months and then.
Yeah, and I was that was a phase. That's when Adverb was born. So I
Right.
didn't know what to do. I was very I felt very hopeless, and I mean I lost all my hope. I remember calling a few of my friends and saying, "What is the least possible salary that you give to your employees? I'm not even worth that, guys. I don't have a
Right.
job." I was that hopeless back then,
Okay.
and I wasn't sure whether I made the right decision or not. My parents never questioned, never ever.
Right.
But your inner conscious happens to prick you.
Hmm.
Yeah, so that's when I started questioning myself whether I've made the right decision or not. In fact, that's when I almost decided that I'll pursue B.Ed now and get into some school job or NET and PhD. I'll pick up that track. Fortunately, God had some other plans for me, and then I got into Allen, and that's when it, you know, things started changing significantly. They took a
Got it.
different turn.
Got it. So what are those other plans that kind of, bailed you out of the situation?
Yeah, so when I got into Allen, that was that one ray of hope. Okay, before that, I'm so sorry. I've lost coherence here. Before joining Allen, I was into one of these jobs where I almost earned nothing
Okay.
because for the first month they deducted half of the salary as security, and for the next month I was serving my notice period.
Oh my God. Okay.
I stayed there for 2 months because it was very toxic and environment, very toxic, and the way you had to survive there was something beyond my ethics.
Right.
Because I hope what you're getting. I mean, we've grown up
Yeah.
enough
Yeah.
to
Yeah. Yeah.
understand
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So I thought I'd rather leave than stay here because
Got it.
I have to face my family and most importantly, I have to face myself.
Right.
And this is
Right.
something that I can't do. I'm so sorry. So
Right.
I directly wrote a resignation to the owner and I said, I'm sorry, I can't take this anymore.
Hmm.
That's not how I'm going to survive here.
Right.
The promotions, they sound really nice, but not like this for sure.
Right.
So I resigned, and that was again, one of
That was your first job.
not my first job, but post CELTA, yes, it was my first job.
Okay. Okay. And what happened after that?
Uh, yeah. So then I came back home, and I thought, okay, this is something that I don't want to do. That's when I thought whether I've made the right choice or not. And people there, because in that job, because they didn't know what CELTA is, so they used to make fun of it. They used to say I think she considers herself overeducated. I just don't talk to people till I don't know them.
Right. 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 Yeah.
So I happened to, and I wasn't really okay with the environment there.
Hmm.
So I happened to stay quiet and stay, confined to my own zone, go to the office, work, and come back.
Right.
And they thought I probably have some attitude issues. No, I didn't. I wasn't just able to gel in the environment there.
Right.
And yeah, so, and they used to call me overeducated. Oh, this is something that I've heard a lot of times,
Right.
that I'm overeducated. I don't understand the concept of being overeducated, but yeah, this is something that I've heard a lot of times. So then I came back home. I was very upset. I started applying. Can you imagine? You will not believe I had applied for almost 100 jobs and couldn't get through even one of
What
them.
these jobs are? English teaching
English
jobs.
language teaching, soft skills training, because I'm also an elite certificate holder from IIT Kanpur in enhancing soft skills and personality development.
Got it.
So soft skills and English language teaching, marketing, what not. I tell you, I had applied for numerous jobs there, but couldn't get through even one of them.
Right, Kovida.
Communications and whatnot.
I just have one question. You said CELTA is a prestigious certificate to have, and I've heard of it from a lot of other people. And you said in India it's not valued as much. Didn't you explore leveraging your CELTA certificate by traveling abroad? Wasn't that a choice for you?
It was obviously, that's a very, very valid question. I come across this question on a lot of times. It
Okay.
was a choice, and I did apply to a few schools and colleges there, but as it is, I told you, I couldn't get to any of it. God knows for what reason.
Okay.
It was
Okay.
probably my stars not favoring me back then. But yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's fine. No, thank you for sharing it so, you know, openly. It takes a certain quality to share such things So that's totally cool. But you also said, before you joined Allen, that's the job that you just described about, which you're not happy about. But you also said that's the time that,
Hey, no,
Adverb
no,
was
no. I'm
also
happy. I'm happy. Okay, I'm so sorry. I'm happy with Alan. I'm talking about the job I was doing before joining Alan.
before
Huh, huh.
before Allen. Yeah, that's the job that you
Yeah.
weren't happy about, and hence you quit and
Yes,
you
yes.
joined Allen.
Hmm, hmm.
And you told Adverb also started around the point when you spent 6 months without a job, right? So what is
Hmm.
Adverb, and can you talk about Adverb?
Okay. So Adverb is a baby that was born during my unemployment, that phase of unemployment.
Right.
It's I started up this startup, and we used to deal in business communication, voice and accent training.
Mhm.
Yeah, this is what primarily and soft skills. So
Right.
these were the three areas we were targeting. My mom's a gold medalist again from IIT Kanpur in soft skills and personality development. So she was my partner there. She helped me a lot. We did crack a lot of deals. We trained a lot. We got in touch with a few industrialists.
Hmm.
Uh, so we trained their engineers there. And also there was a catch here.
Okay.
So while I was visiting these industrialists and I was meeting them,
Hmm.
you know what was the catch? Someone had already launched a company for soft skills before I did.
Okay.
So I come from Yamunanagar,
Okay.
and someone had already launched a company there, and it was a big, big, big failure there. And the industrialists, they were so upset with the term soft skills. So
Hmm.
it was so difficult for them to convince that no, I'm a good person. I will make sure that you don't have any bad experiences with me. But they
Right.
said, no, no, no. The organization we tied up with before, we had a really bad experience. They don't answer our calls. They had their own share of experiences, but definitely not the good ones.
Right.
So they were very skeptical about the concept of soft skills and getting their employees trained. And I received multiple rejections there as well. But eventually, I could get through. It was a task in itself to explain.
Got it. And right now you're doing both Allen and Adverb together.
At work, my mom is focusing on it more than I am for now because I stepped into this examiner thing with the British Council, and then I was pursuing this specialization in TESOL methodology. So she wanted me to take a break, and then she said, "Okay, let's put that on hold. You
Mm.
do whatever you feel like because I want to enter the global market before I take my child there."
Right. Right. Got it. Uh, just clarifying, by child you mean Adverb.
Adverb, yes.
And you said, let's. I also want to talk about the examiner thing. I'll just come back to it a little later. So, what do you do in Allen exactly?
I am a faculty in the Department of English.
Okay.
I teach multiple exams and a few. I take classes related to speed reading, wordsmiths, and paraphrasing.
Hmm.
Then speed sprint, which is about speaking. Then a few English language exams, SAT, general English,
Right.
multiple things. I also curate content, whatever is to be taught, specifically speaking. Some grammar lessons. Yeah. So I'm also into content creation, multiple things.
Got it. Got it. And you said, at one point, 6 months you spent without any job,
Mm.
right? I mean, you were like unemployed. But now suddenly, you've got three things going on for you. You're an Allen, you've got Adverb. Of course, you're not actively involved, but there's something that you can fall back on. You were responsible for starting it. And to add to that, you're also an examiner in the British Council.
Mm.
How does that work?
Oh, I've realized I'm very good with juggling now. So it's like you okay. Let's say you're a wife, but you're also a mother. You can also be an entrepreneur, but you can also be an employee and a daughter-in-law and a daughter. Multiple things. So that's
Right.
how I'm juggling.
Got it. But no, what I meant was specifically about being an examiner in British Council. Uh,
Mm.
what's what does the job entail?
I don't know how much am I allowed to speak about it, but I'll just
Okay.
say that you have
Sure.
to examine the candidates. Let's say the candidates who are who appear for XYZ exams.
Oh, things like IELTS and stuff. So you're an examiner.
Probably, let's not streamline. I don't know if I'm allowed to or not, so I'll just
Oh,
say the
okay, got it,
examiner.
got it, got it. But just curious, how does one become an examiner?
Oh, there's a process that you have to get through. You have to apply. Then there's this training, a very rigorous training that you have to go through. Uh, then there are some standardized procedures because, I'm sorry, British Council is uh, very particular about a few things. Something that I really love about them, and they have a standardized format that is to be followed.
Right,
So you are meant to go through that rigorous training to follow the standardized procedures, and then there are multiple checkpoints you have to pass.
right.
Um, there can be multiple successful and unsuccessful attempts. So there are a number of attempts you get, many things, and then after you get through everything, you pass all the checkpoints. Then finally, your examiner number is allocated to you.
Got it, Kovida. And it's not a job that you can plan on, right? Is it very uncertain, or do you have a very regular stream of income from that job?
It depends upon the number of candidates you examine.
Okay, so
So
you
you
mean to
get
say it's
paid
based on your
per.
availability?
Yes, yes,
Oh,
certainly.
okay. But what I'm also trying to ask is, if you choose to make that your full-time profession, that's where
People
you
do.
want. Oh, they earn only from being an examiner.
Yes, yes, they do.
Okay, got it. Can you
They
can
get to
you
be.
share a little bit
Sorry.
about how much one can approximately make being an examiner?
A very good income, I must say, because you could be an examiner with Cambridge and then the British Council. I know of a lot of people who are. In fact, I have a few friends who are
Okay.
earning just by being an examiner, and trust me, they're earning in lakhs per month.
Oh, wow. So you're paid on an hourly basis.
Um, Different exams, different criterias. Different organizations, again, different criterias.
Okay. So let's say if somebody, who's listening to this, they're looking at becoming an examiner at the British Council. What are the things that they need to do? What are the base? So you said you took up this master class for IELTS with British Council, right?
Hmm.
Is that
Hmm.
the basic thing they start off
No,
with?
no, 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 no. You need to have CELTA, I repeat.
Right.
That's
Okay.
the prerequisite. Masters in English and a basic TEFL.
Oh, you need to have masters in English to become an examiner at the British Council.
See, that's one of the basic prerequisites. So, masters in English, once you do your TEFL or CELTA, you do it obviously after completing your masters in English. Not it is not mandatory, but most of the people. It
Oh,
is,
it's not
I
okay.
repeat, not, no, it's not mandatory, but most of the people do it. I know of a girl who was an architect who was pursuing CELTA. She was my batchmate. But
Oh, right.
again, she was the only one. Rest, all of us completed our masters in English.
Got it. But CELTA is a prerequisite, mandatory prerequisite to
Yes,
apply to
yes,
be an
it is. It
examiner at the
is.
British Council.
Hmm.
Okay, got it. So, uh, you know, you've been in Allen so far. You've been teaching for quite some time now. Um,
Hmm.
Compared to the point where you were unemployed today, I'm sure when you contrast it with that situation, it's great that you have a job.
Hmm.
But going back to the time when you made this call of not pursuing medicine but taking English, right? You must have had a certain
Hmm.
aspiration.
Hmm.
Are you there according to you, or you still have a long way to go to achieve what
Miles
you
to
aspire?
go before I sleep.
Okay, so what was your aspiration when you took up English? What did you envision yourself to be after you did your education? And I surely understand that things have not gone to your plan, right? You're kind of
Hmm.
in the
Hmm.
process of doing that. You wanted to be
Hmm.
something you haven't. So what is it
Hmm.
you wanted to be, and how do you see yourself getting there from here on?
My mom has asked me not to be overambitious and now take a deep breath, settle down. But she also tells me, Covid, I see you as a boss somewhere, someone at a very senior position.
Right,
So, two contrasting statements from my own mother.
right.
But yeah, I think I would definitely agree to whatever she says because that's where I see myself. There's a lot more to study, there's a lot more to know, um, and there's a lot more to explore in terms of English language teaching.
Right.
Um, and being a part of these international organizations, you know what, you get to travel the world, with being, when you are an English language teacher or when you teach English as a foreign language,
Right.
this is something that can take you to places, and I'm yet to reach that position.
Got it. Got it, Kovida. Uh, we've spoken a lot about teaching, right? Once you finish English, it's obvious. It's most of them, we can't fault if most of the people think that, okay, teaching is the way. But are there any other career opportunities apart from being a teacher once you finish?
Oh yes, of course.
Okay. And
Certainly. Mhm.
okay. Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about those opportunities? What are the other opportunities?
Yeah. So after CELTA, if you pursue the next step, which is Delta, that is for
Oh, wow.
getting.
I didn't expect that. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah. So after CELTA, you have Delta, and
Sorry, is it Delta or Telta?
Delta, DELTA.
DELTA. Delta. Okay, got it.
Yeah,
Huh.
Delta. So when you pursue Delta, I mean, after people generally pursue it when they look forward to getting at a managerial position or at a senior position, when they target a senior position.
Hmm.
I remember when I was interviewed for CELTA, my interviewer had completed her Delta, and she was the All India Academic Head of yeah, British Council's one vertical, All India Academic Head of something.
Right, right, right.
Yeah. So she said that if I asked her that question, should I pursue Delta? And she said, if you're looking forward to being at a senior position, you must. It helps you secure one.
Okay. And what are the other certifications that there are, beyond Delta? Are there any?
Oh yes, I just told you about TESOL methodology. So every session, the U.S. Embassy happens to nominate. So wherever there's a base of the U.S. Embassy, they happen to nominate a few teachers, English language teachers from their country for a specialization, which is funded by the U.S. government.
Right.
Right? So you get to choose your subject. You
Hmm.
give three preferences, and now out of the three preferences, it's first come first, and yeah, on the basis of your profile, So you're allocated the course. I also did my specialization in TESOL methodology. 27th June was my graduation ceremony.
Oh, wow. Congratulations on that.
Thank you. I by the way, I scored 92 point something there. I still am a student,
Wow. Okay. Great. And
so you could also do that.
okay, got it. TSOL, CELTA, Delta, TSOL. Okay. And so how has this whole teaching journey been? Has it been in line with what you expected, or you faced any challenges? You had to make any adjustments? How did it start off at Allen?
I did have to face a few challenges. I'll tell you why. Because the teaching, um, uh, let's say the strategies you learn when you're pursuing CELTA, or even all that I learned throughout the course of throughout this journey of TESOL methodology, it is completely different to how we teach here in India.
Okay.
Having said this, I do not mean that the teaching system of India is not good, but it
Hmm.
is different. It is
Right.
completely different.
Right.
And there's a lot more that we can add to it. This is what I've learned.
Okay.
If we add that to our classes, it is going to be really, really interesting and engaging and innovative.
Okay.
The students, they might start taking English as a subject very seriously, and they might start enjoying it as well. Because currently, for students, there are only three streams: medical, non medical, and commerce,
Okay.
primarily.
Yeah, yeah.
And
So, could you share
Mhm.
an example, where you kind of applied, what was the norm in India, and
Mhm.
what was the difference because of your CELTA certification? One thing that you changed in the classroom, can you
Yeah,
share it?
certainly. So there are a lot of my classes are now activity based.
Okay,
I prefer practical learning over theoretical learning.
okay,
The teacher talk time has decreased. The students, they happen to expect uh, the teachers to speak the entire time and elicit as less as possible.
right.
which shouldn't be the case.
Okay.
The talk time should be, ideally it should be 80-20, 80 the students, 20 the teacher.
Oh, wow.
However, we could also go by 70-30, because if you elicit it from them, they happen to brainstorm, and that's when they learn the most.
Right,
If
right, right,
everything is served on the platter, I don't think that is going to help much. Um, and when you have activity based classes, for example, I put them in groups, I send them to breakout rooms. Okay, go and discuss about this, and then we'll come back and talk about it in the main session.
right.
Or let's say, okay, this is an activity we are doing. We play some games in the class. So I think that can make learning a little more interesting.
Got it, Kovida. And did it occur to you, or do you have plans of going private, being an independent teacher?
Okay, leaving my job.
It could be leaving your job or in addition to what you're doing, because there are a lot of private tutors who
Hmm.
teach verbal for exams like GMAT, GRE, and
Hmm.
where they command fees to the tunes of 4,000 rupees an hour, right up
I
to the point
know.
of 9,000 rupees per hour. So
Hmm.
have you explored those? Do you have in mind to do any of those any soon?
Okay. Um, First of all, this is not just a money making process for me. Or let's just avoid the word just here. This is not a money making process for me.
Right.
Um, I don't say that I'm satisfied with what I'm earning right now, because all of us want to earn more
Yeah.
and more.
Yeah.
But I also don't want it to be only a money making process. The
Right.
place I'm working for, the organization I'm working for right now has given me the liberty to explore and experiment as much as I wish to.
Right.
And the good part is I have a team. I
Right.
am a part of the team.
Right.
So I'm loving what I'm doing. I'm liking the students I'm getting to teach, and every batch happens to bring a new mindset.
Right.
And I think I'm enjoying what I'm doing right now. Let's presume it's the opposite way now. Had it been the situation where, there are places when the employees, they don't get to experiment, you're supposed to stick to it, and you have to go by it, mobile phones not allowed, this is the
Yeah.
rule, that is the rule. It becomes really difficult for teachers to be themselves,
Right.
which
Right.
is not the case here. So when
Right.
I'm enjoying here and I'm getting what I want, I think I'm not looking forward to moving in that direction anytime soon. Or let's say I haven't thought of it for now.
Got it, Kovida. And coming to the role of tech, but before that, I have just one question, right? Do you only do classroom training, or do you also do online for Ali?
I primarily do online training.
Oh, okay. So, but you need to go to the office of Alan to do that
Yeah,
also.
yeah.
Oh, okay, fine. So, what are the tools that you use? What are the problems that you face? What are the gaps that are there in the tech?
The challenge is there are times when students happen to keep their cameras off,
Right.
and we don't know whether they're actually sitting in the class or not. And it is a
Okay.
challenge to teach those blank black tiles with
Right.
just the name written.
Right.
Uh, but I have made it a rule in my class that you can't keep your camera off unless you have a genuine reason. So
Okay.
the students enjoy it. You know what? I generally have 100% attendance in my class. And
Okay.
the students, they keep their cameras on purpose, because they're so excited and they want to express themselves. At times I have to put them on mute. Please stay quiet, let me complete, and then I let you speak.
Right.
So they're so excited about it and they want to show their excitement. So uh, there used to be this problem, because because of COVID, students became let's say lazier.
Right. Right.
They started enjoying that comfort zone of putting themselves on mute, turning off the camera, getting slipping into the blankets, and then the teacher can keep going on and on.
Right.
That was the problem. But now that they've actually started studying, um, I don't think that's a problem. It's just that for one class or two, when a fresh batch comes in, for one class or two, you have to tell them, no, I'm actually worth listening to. I might be a good teacher. Please pay attention. You
Right.
might like me, guys. let's give each other a platform to explore. Uh, but fortunately, they all like it. So yeah, it is fun.
Got it, Kovida. Probably my final question for this session. You said, you were going through a phase of unemployment, and then, you started Adverb, and then you got the opportunity of Allen, right? So how did you crack Allen after 6 months of, you've tried 100 companies? What was your mindset? And how did Allen finally happen to you?
While applying for those 100 and something jobs, this was one among those, and I received a call from the HR. I applied on LinkedIn, by the way.
Okay,
Yeah. So it's through LinkedIn that I got to know about it, and I was randomly applying for multiple jobs. Hopelessly clicking tuck, apply. Doing
right.
that. So very hopelessly, I applied here as well. But fortunately, I received a call from the HR, and that was a turning point. Then I was called to the head office for the joining formalities after obviously clearing the interview, multiple rounds of
How
interview,
many rounds of interviews did you have to attend?
2 to 3.
Okay.
But they were fun. Actually, they were the way we are talking right now.
Okay, got it. Did they
Yeah.
recognize the value of CELTA? Finally, somebody?
Oh, yes, they did.
Okay, great.
Finally, yeah. You know what? Actually, I'll tell you something really interesting. So after my joining formalities were done, everything, it was completed. My country had called me.
Okay,
It was a video call, and he said, "Okay, Kovida, how do you finally feel to be a part of Alan?" I said, "I feel really nice, and I feel privileged to be here." And he said, "Did you see the head office?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Do you like the vibe of the office?" I said, "Yeah, it's very positive, and I see people running here and there, and so they're so excited about the jobs here." And he said, "Any final question that you would like to ask me?" I said, "Yeah, one question, sir." He said, "What is it?" I said, "How do you feel that I've joined your team?"
right.
He was probably not expecting that from me. And he said, uh, um, "Yeah, I feel really happy and I'm excited to explore new opportunities." But it was fun. It was the turning point I was looking forward to.
Okay.
And now I've just been shifted to a new city, to a new center, because they've opened a new center here. And I'm
Oh,
getting to work with the All India Academic Head very closely. And there's a lot that I'm learning.
got it, Kovida. Thank you so much. I wish you all the very best for the next few years of yours. And, I wish you go on to do your Delta. and,
I wish that too. And I'm also very happy and I'm glad that somebody has finally acknowledged the importance of learning languages, because as I remember the first question that you asked me,
right,
how easy was it, or how did you get through it? It was
right.
not that easy. I think I told this to you when we were speaking over a phone call,
Yeah,
and I
yeah,
told you
yeah.
that, yeah, so I forgot to tell you about it, but yeah, it was not that easy. Because I come from a joint family,
Right,
there are members of my family who actually opposed to the decision of moving out of the city and studying languages, because they thought, why do you have to pay important to languages? BA, why do you have to move out and pursue BA?
right.
Yeah. But
But here you
I
are.
think, yeah, here I am. I think they know what was the reason behind. I hope they know it now.
I'm sure they will. Thank you again so much for sharing your journey, and for sharing the value of the perceived value of CELTA here in India. And hopefully people listening know, if they are maybe prepared to go abroad, then I think
Hmm.
CELTA is the way to go. But if they are going to remain in India, maybe there are other things that they can probably do to get valued here in India.
Hmm. Certainly, certainly. Yeah. And I would be really happy to actually help people through this journey, because not a lot of people know what to do. And I have come across a lot of people who
Right,
happen to be in my shoes and they say, we don't know what to do. We've completed our masters and there's no, we've knocked almost every door and there's nothing that we find now. So I hope this helps them, and I'd be really happy to help people understand and, you know, find a path.
great, Kovida. Thank you so much.